Welcome to Echoes of Time, where forgotten worlds rise again, where mysteries breathe, and where history whispers truths lost to the ages. The Caribbean, with its turquoise waters and warm winds, is often imagined as a paradise of islands born from volcanic fire and drenched in centuries of colonization and cultural blending. But long before the arrival of the Taino, long before Spanish ships carved their wakes across the Atlantic, long before the first maps ever marked these islands, something else lived here. Something ancient, something advanced, something forgotten. A civilization erased from memory. Today, our search begins in the Lesser Antilles, a crescent of islands stretching like stepping stones across the Caribbean Sea. These islands guard secrets older than written history, and some say the clues still lie hidden in jungles, caves, and reefs shaped by time. This is the story of the people before the islands, a name given by modern archaeologists who cannot trace their origin, their language, or even the cause of their disappearance, but fragments of their world remain, and what they reveal has shaken the foundations of Caribbean history. In 1999, off the coast of Guadeloupe, marine archaeologist Dr. Helena Carver was conducting a routine sonar scan of the shallow reefs when her equipment detected something impossible: a series of perfectly straight lines extending across the seabed. Nature rarely builds straight lines, especially not in patterns. She dove. Blue light filtered around her as she descended toward the grid-like shapes. At first, she thought they were coral formations layered over an old shipwreck, but they weren't. These were roads. Paved stone roads, arranged in a rectangular system more than 400 meters long. No shipwreck, no colonial structure, no known indigenous architecture. This was something else. When Dr. Carver resurfaced, her voice shook as she radioed her team. They weren't supposed to be there. They don't match anything we've recorded in Caribbean prehistory. The discovery was kept quiet. Governments were informed. Scholars were sworn to secrecy. And the deeper they dug, metaphorically and literally, the stranger it became. Because the stone blocks resembled no known Caribbean culture. The technology to quarry and align them should not have existed here. And when carbon samples from encrusted artifacts were analyzed, the date came back as 7,200 years old. That was 2,000 years before the earliest known Caribbean settlements. If the dates were right, someone lived here long before the West Indies were even home to humans, a civilization lost beneath the waves. Over the next decade, artifacts began surfacing from unexpected places. A carved basalted idol discovered in Dominica, a series of patterned clay fragments buried under volcanic ash in St. Lucia, a copper pendant dredged from a mangrove swamp in Barbados, even though copper does not naturally occur in Barbados at all. Each discovery raised two questions. 1. Who made these? 2. Why did they vanish? The Taino, Kalinago, and earlier archaic groups showed no cultural links to these items. Their tools, art, and settlements were entirely different. These mysterious objects belonged to an unknown people, a group with skills far beyond what early Caribbean settlers had. But the question of their origin remained unsolved. Were they natives who advanced rapidly? Unlikely. The technology jump was too big. Were they migrants from another continent? Perhaps, but no known migration path matched the dating. Or did they rise and fall long before later island communities ever arrived? This possibility was frightening because it suggested entire chapters of Caribbean prehistory had been erased. Some scholars resisted the idea. Impossible, they argued in journals. No evidence of large populations, no written records, no lineage, but evidence kept piling up, forcing them to reconsider. In 2011, a cave in Grenada revealed a clue that changed everything. Deep inside the chambers of Sot Do, explorers uncovered a series of wall markings, spirals, waves, and humanoid shapes with elongated limbs and tall crown-like headpieces. These figures were older than any known Caribbean rock art, but what shocked researchers was not the age, it was the resemblance. The same symbols had been found etched into the basalt idol discovered years earlier in Dominica, hundreds of kilometers apart, thousands of years old. The same culture, a unified civilization, once spanned the islands, but then vanished. Archaeologists named them provisionally the Pelagians, from the Greek word pelagos, meaning sea. It was an imperfect name for a people whose true identity was still unknown. But one thing was clear: they were seafarers. The scattered artifacts suggested they traveled between islands using advanced canoes or vessels, possibly even navigation methods lost to time. No written language has yet been found, but their symbols show a deep understanding of astronomical patterns. The Pelagians may have been star readers, ocean trackers, and builders of stone, more advanced than any Caribbean culture that followed for thousands of years. If so, how did they disappear? And why was there not a single oral legend among them, among later Caribbean island peoples? Civilizations leave echoes, stories, monuments, memories, but the Pelagians left nothing. Like a chapter torn from a book, their entire existence had been erased. Some scholars resisted the idea. Natural disasters, they argued, massive tsunamis triggered by ancient volcanic eruptions. Others suggested disease or resource collapse. But the most intriguing theory came from linguist Dr. Arturo Velázquez. He believed the disappearance was intentional, a self-erasure. The Pelagians might have fled the islands, abandoning them completely after a catastrophic event scared them into retreat. But where did they go? This question remained unanswered until the most shocking discovery yet. In 2019, deep in the forests of St. Vincent, a team led by anthropologist Dr. Miriam Baptiste uncovered a cluster of stones buried under layers of volcanic soil. At first glance, they appeared to be random boulders displaced by eruptions, but as the dirt was brushed away, the stones revealed carvings, the same spirals and wave symbols found across the Caribbean. This was no coincidence. Dr. Baptiste immediately requested further excavation. What her team uncovered next would send waves through the global archaeological community. Underneath the soil lay the remains of a settlement, not a village, but a complex. Circular stone foundations, fire pits arranged in geometric patterns, a central plaza lined with triangular monoliths. This was the heart of a forgotten city. Its estimated age, 8,900 years, older than Jericho, older than Stonehenge, older than the pyramids, older than most known civilizations. "We have to shut this down," a government official told Dr. Baptiste. "Why?" she asked. "You've uncovered something sensitive." She pressed for explanation. None was given. But late at night, under rain and darkness, she returned alone with her flashlight. Something about the sight called to her, a feeling she described later as the sensation of being watched by ghosts who desperately wanted to be remembered. She walked toward the largest monolith, tracing her fingers across the carved spirals. Then she noticed something previously missed in daylight. Smaller symbols etched inside the spirals, a pattern resembling constellations. Her breath caught. The Pelagians were mapping the night sky, but not the Caribbean sky. These constellations matched the heavens as seen from thousands of kilometers away, near the west coast of Africa. Could it be possible? Were the Pelagians migrants, or traders, or refugees from a forgotten catastrophe across the ocean? No records exist. No genetic link has been firmly proven, but the stars suggest a connection. Dr. Baptiste snapped photos but kept them hidden. She sensed that revealing them would bring consequences she couldn't predict. She was right. The next week, the dig was sealed. The area was declared off-limits. Teams were reassigned, and the world never heard of the discovery until now. While officials tried to silence the revelations, nature had its own plans. In 2021, an unusually strong storm season battered the Caribbean. One storm in particular, Hurricane Idris, tore apart massive portions of coral reefs near Antigua, exposing something extraordinary: stone pillars arranged in a circle. Divers reported the find to local authorities, but when news leaked to the public, enthusiasts and archaeologists rushed to document the site before it was closed. One diver, a veteran named Carl Mendez, shared his footage anonymously. The images were breathtaking. 12 stone pillars rising from the seafloor like the teeth of a submerged cathedral. Each pillar carved with familiar symbols: spirals, waves, humanoid figures, and at the center of the ring, a raised stone platform, a ceremonial site, an ancient temple, or perhaps something older. Some researchers believe this was an astronomical observatory, a Caribbean Stonehenge, designed to track the movement of the sun during solstices. Others suggest the platform once held a giant idol, since shattered by time. But the strangest part, the site emitted a low-frequency vibration recorded by underwater microphones, a sound not created by sea life, currents, or tectonic activity, a sound rhythmic and deliberate, as if echoing from deep within the earth. Locals now call the structure the Reef of Ghosts. Fishermen refuse to go near it. Divers claim they feel watched while exploring it. Some say shadows move across pillars even without sunlight, a haunting reminder that the Pelagians were not just builders, they were storytellers, scientists, astronomers, and they wanted someone to find this. What happened to the Pelagians? Theories continue to multiply, but three dominate academic debate. Theory 1. The Great Floods. Rising sea levels between 6,000 and 7,000 years ago submerged large coastal settlements. Islands shrank, people fled. This could explain the underwater roads and temples. Theory 2. The Fire Mountains. Volcanic devastation, particularly from ancient eruptions of Montserrat, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent, may have wiped out populations. Ash layers found across artifacts support this. Theory 3. The Cultural Exodus. The carvings showing non-Caribbean star patterns suggest they may have returned to their unknown homeland, perhaps forced by disaster, famine, or internal collapse. But the most chilling possibility is rarely spoken out loud. Theory 4. They left because something terrified them. Certain carvings, rarely shown to the public, depict chaotic waves, falling stars, and figures kneeling before a dark, towering form. Was this myth, symbolism, memory of a catastrophe, or something worse? We may never know. But one truth remains. The Pelagians left behind warnings, etched in stone, hidden in caves, sealed under volcanic ash. Warnings we are only beginning to understand. In 2023, a sealed cave system opened after a landslide in Dominica. Inside, archaeologists found something unprecedented: a stone chest. Inside it lay a circular copper disc engraved with more than 200 symbols arranged in concentric rings. Using photogrammetry and spectral imaging, experts identified 3 layers of markings. 1. Outer ring, depictions of the Caribbean islands as smaller and differently shaped, consistent with sea levels around 7,000 to 9,000 years ago. 2. Middle ring, star maps pointing toward the African west coast. 3. Inner ring, a series of spirals leading inward to a single mark, a triangular symbol with an eye-like shape at the center. This mark had never appeared anywhere else. Dr. Carver, who had retired years earlier, was brought in to examine the artifact. She stared at the symbol and whispered, "This is not a mark of origin. It's a mark of closure, a seal, a message." The Pelagians weren't recording who they were recording what they left behind, perhaps to warn future civilizations. But warn them about what? That's the question that continues to torment researchers today. Imagine standing on a Caribbean beach thousands of years ago, the sea calmer, the islands larger, the stars above unpolluted by city light. You would see Pelagian navigators scanning the horizon, builders carving stone temples, astronomers mapping constellations, families
living on islands that no longer exist. They laughed, they prayed, they built, they dreamed. They were real. And yet, today, they exist only in fragments, in broken idols, in symbols that drift like ghosts across the Caribbean, in the ruins hidden beneath coral and volcanic soil. Their story is not finished because every discovery brings them closer to being remembered. The sea has guarded their secrets long enough. The Caribbean is more than paradise. It is a vault of lost worlds, buried empires, and forgotten souls whose voices echo through time. Tonight, you journeyed through the whispers of a civilization erased long before the West Indies were born. But this is only the beginning. More ruins lie hidden. More symbols wait to be decoded. And the Pelagians, the people before the islands, are calling out from the deep. Will we listen? If you enjoyed this dive into forgotten history, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss another deep exploration into humanity's hidden past. This is Echoes of Time, where the past is never truly gone.